Yeah, and I meant I'll do the on Tuesday night when I come in
That's
here.
right, because Wednesday, yeah. Um, but sometimes I also see narratives like coming off of fight cards, and that's when in my mind I'm like, oh man, like I can't wait to come on here and say my shit, you know, like the whole thing about Ilya Topuria. I remember back a few months ago, Ilya, and that whole BMF shit, right? That was the conversation afterwards. Like Ilya's still posting his BMF title. You got JDM coming in, right? And instead of even just reporting, JDM said this, Ilya said this, Max responded this. We did all that, and then it's like, but now here's what I got to say about it, which is how the show's been going. But without that, it's like what differentiates us from anyone else. So, shout out to all the boys. We got episode 47. And action-packed weekend, but it was a little bit tough to get some headlines going this week, I will say.
We're live.
Yeah, we're live now. Or
All
we've
right,
been
what's
live
up?
for like 2 minutes or so.
Oh, okay.
It says a minute and 10 seconds.
I got you.
Yeah.
So shout out to the usual suspects. Is it Jew?
We got Just Jew.
You up in NorCal, Central Cal,
I think he's from Stockton. Yeah.
Stockton.
209. Shout out the Diaz brothers.
Who's the homie in New York?
Soda Pop.
Soda Pop. That's right.
Soda
You
Pop
gotta
should be coming in.
Soda Pop. All right. So our usual suspects.
Yeah.
You wanna kick it off with the Nassourdine? It was funny as last
I
week
think so.
when we were talking about Nassourdine, like we were really spot on. What happened afterwards?
Well, the whole conversation about who's deserving, who's not.
Right.
Right.
We were kind of saying number one, but Dana waited. Dana did not come. Dana wasn't even at the press conference. Dana
Yeah.
did not even come out, and he basically said,
What up,
"Hey,
Andrew?"
we're gonna wait till this next fight."
Mm-hmm.
And no, the homie that was at the press conference, I don't know what his name is, but he said we're gonna wait for this next fight.
The
which
white
I'm
dude,
sure
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
which I'm sure it trickled down.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what's funny when I watched the press conference? He was speaking French.
Yeah, I think he's
He
like
was on point.
I think he's the Australian guy. Like I always see him for the Australian events. So maybe he's the international guy or something.
I don't know. He wasn't Dana, but I will give him props. I had to give him props. I was like, because I was about to talk shit, and then he started like speaking French. I was like, all right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give you a little bit more love, but nah. They basically put the brakes on it, and we both said it too. You got to get a finish. It was a good win, but it wasn't a finish.
Well, I didn't think we both said it. You said it. I actually kind of disagreed.
What did you say?
I said that he pretty much deserves a title shot, win or lose.
You
I
still feel that way?
I resided with your opinion a little bit, but looking at it now, like so let's look. But I also raised this question. I said if he beats him dominantly, it was unanimous. It wasn't split. It wasn't even 49-48. There was multiple rounds, right? Pretty much every round except for one. Caio
Yeah.
lost.
Yeah.
You kind of were saying, okay, if he dominates him, then we'll give it to him. Regardless of all that, I'm just of the mindset like I feel like in my gut of guts, I feel like it's being overcomplicated for the sake of talking about something. Like Imavov stated 5, I think top 10 opponents on his win streak right now, on his 6-fight win streak. I would try to compare that to Fluffy's resume. I noticed Fluffy has been basically beating all the guys Imavov beat on his streak after Imavov beat him. Brandon Allen, Roman Dolidze, and I think there was one more guy that they share
Yeah.
in common. So,
Sierra,
but Imavov
Parry.
did it first.
Yeah. But I will say this. Let me ask you this. Do you think, and I don't think so, do you think Imavov could beat DDP? Because I don't think so.
Honestly, I'm not even pressed about it. Like, why do you, what does that have to do with it exactly? Like, where are you going with that?
Because of the talent-wise, I don't think he's not even on DDP's level.
But that's
I
again
don't-
like moving the goalpost. I feel like he earned the title shot, does he not? Like, why do we even got to bring DDP into it?
I bring DDP into it because I look at it like DDP at least was in it to the very end trying. I just don't know. I just don't see Nassourdine's level of skill above DDP.
So what do you see? Tell me more, I guess.
I see that
And again, though, I
it
feel like
it would be a boring fight to see Nassourdine in there. I'd rather see Nassourdine fight DDP. I'd rather see a more entertaining fight.
so. At one point, does somebody earn a title shot in your mind,
I
or
get no.
at one point does is it just always like? Well, I think because keep in mind this, right, and it's almost like this, right? Just because you have a thought, right? Does that mean Nassourdine's got to go his whole fucking navigate his career off of what you perceive and what the other guy perceives, or where do we when does he earn it? Like after DDP?
Of course not. But Dana looks like he's having that same train of thought. And whose thought really matters? That thought.
But to be honest, Dana hasn't said anything. That guy said something that you're talking about, but Dana hasn't said anything. So I guess where do we stand? I mean, I kind of said I'm gonna say Imavov can deserve it. You can fall wherever you want to fall.
I think that if RDR and Fluffy have the same type of performance and decision, they're automatically going to give it to Nassourdine.
Okay.
I think they're just waiting to it's almost like the Joshua Van effect. If he goes in there and if Anthony Hernandez gets another knockout or submission, they're just going to move him right on up.
Okay, and actually, I'm glad that you said it. That is the other side of the argument. There's pretty much only two sides of this argument. This one, and then if Fluffy finishes, right? Nobody's saying if Fluffy gets a win or if Fluffy gets a unanimous decision, he's leapfrogging. It's the Fluffy finish.
You have to get a finish.
Here's what I'll say. How do I say this? That is well and dandy, but I think too when you look at the pair, see that's all kind of fine, and that was even a little bit more acceptable before this event took place last weekend. I think now when you see what just went down in Paris, right? You see the support. Even Cyril Gane is kind of not a babyface in the game anymore, but you put him in Paris and he's the biggest babyface you ever seen. Tom Aspinall is getting booed, and Tom Aspinall is a babyface right now. I say all that to say the market in Paris is untouchable right now. It's almost unmatched. You cannot find another nation or a country that's supporting heavier than Paris other than a Russia or Kazakhstan or something like that.
Australia.
But they're not holding events out there, right? They are holding events in Paris. And I would say, yeah, Australia is a good one. I'll give them. They're in competition. Brazil, but it's these top markets.
Yeah.
You are not gonna in my opinion, for the UFC, right? Because I'm not trying to go off my opinion. I'm trying to go off of what's the best route, what makes the most business sense and all that. The UFC would be stepping over a fucking dollar for a nickel, putting Anthony Hernandez in there, even if he gets a finish, because the biggest knockout in the world, right? Who's got the biggest knockout in the world? Joaquin Buckley. What is that? Is he a guaranteed draw? Is he a guarantee? He's a great draw because he's got a great personality, but a knockout can only take you so far. I think the fan base from Paris, that fucking shutout that they just performed this last weekend, they're calling it the best card of the year. I'm not calling it that. I'm calling it a stellar card, and it showed out for Paris. I'm saying all of this to say Imavov's not only the number one contender, but he's financially making the most sense too, because that's the guy you put in, a guy with a real nation. Fluffy got a Mexican American fan base, right? But this guy's got a proven nation behind him. They just clean swept in their hometown. That's big for the promotion to look at and be they all just delivered. We can do future events here. This is a big market. And so I think they're stepping over a dollar for a nickel if they even consider putting Fluffy in there, given the greatest knockout of his life. Given the knockout of the year.
Yeah, I will say this, that, I don't know how big the France market is. I'd have to
You heard it and you saw it. You don't even need to look at anything. You saw it.
I mean more how many people live there? How many people live in their biggest city? If you were to go
again, I think I almost gotta stop. That's moving the goalpost a little bit. When somebody has a country behind them, you don't go, well, how big is the country, right?
Kind of you do, because you're gonna have more people that live there.
I mean, yes, but again, you can always find a pin in something. The whole point behind the fight game, you want to have people with countries behind them, nations behind them. That's the biggest point. Why do you think Weili gets pushed so much? Why do you think they open up a UFC PI in China, in Mexico? It's to get countries behind. It's not and sure, China's a big country, right? So of course they're going to invest. But if you have a country right? That's more than you can say, and that's why I say it's moving the goalpost, because you're getting a country, right? That's more than a fan base like Fluffy's got. Fluffy doesn't have the country behind him. He's even from America. He doesn't even have fully Mexico behind him. He's kind of leeching off both. So then you say, right, well, then this guy's got something bigger, right? And then now you're going to be like, oh, but it's not like how many people live in France? And so that's what I'm saying. Like, you can always push it. You can always push the goalpost, right? But it's like there are certain rules of thumb, and if somebody's got a country behind them, then like you usually don't question past that. That's just, I'll just let you know that.
I would say this, that typically, like, let's just say NFL, NBA, any other like big sport, MLB, when they put a market on, there's a reason why they put on X game on a Sunday night, or they put on X game on a 4 p.m. and they don't play other games, because they know that market's bigger. They know there's going to be more eyes on the product. So I don't know how many eyes are on the product. I mean, yeah, the whole nation was behind them. That's great. It was a great event. I'm just wondering that, like,
okay, and to answer that, regardless of that answer, it's going to be bigger than whatever fan base Fluffy's got, is it not?
Yeah, I think that. Yeah.
So
I think so. Yeah.
So you just said we put certain people on prime time.
Right.
Who's going to be more prime? That's why, we don't need to move the goalpost so much, because we already found the answer in who's got the bigger fan base, who's got more support right now. Okay, yeah, sure, maybe France is let's even concede to your point a little bit and say France, let's say it is a small nation. With that being said, it's still a bigger fan base than what Fluffy brings to the table. And that's where I'm saying, that's where we're kind of ending up right now.
And I think Nassourdine too, no, I agree with you. And I think Nassourdine too has done a way better job online in building his actual brand.
Yeah, so he's a bigger, like, more following too.
Yeah, and he's done a better job. Like, he's all in on that side of it, And I think that he understands the power of it. Yeah, I mean, number one contender, just beat Kai.
But is he the number one contender, or you're gonna go number one contender as long as Fluffy doesn't get a finish?
Yeah, he doesn't jump frog. Anthony Hernandez doesn't jump frog Imavov if he doesn't get a finish. I mean, I'd have to agree with you too, though. On paper, yeah, he shouldn't jump, but the way the UFC is, they're so like the Joshua Van thing, just is a perfect example of what they've done lately.
And yes, but I feel like I keep hearing that too. The way the UFC is, but the UFC doesn't care about money. Like, I thought the UFC is show business, so I feel like people are being like, because I heard DC on his show, he told Chael, that's just how the UFC is. Like, if you get a knockout, right, then like then it's what have you done for me lately? And yes, sure, like that has happened, but historically too, are we not going to say that the way the UFC is they choose the guy who will generate them more money? Like, has that not been a case? So yes, I do agree that, like, sure, sometimes the bigger knockout happens, but I think that happens when you have what we just had recently. Sean Brady, Joaquin Buckley, Ian Gary, all these guys are kind of the same star power. Nothing's really separating them. So a knockout will separate them, right, for a title shot, something like that. But when you have something as clear as, like, okay, Nassourdine has all of Paris behind him. People are calling it the biggest card of the year. You got the French support, 5-fight or 6-fight win streak, like, win over a former champion. And it ain't no war. And this is the other thing I'm saying. Fluffy got a win over a former champion. Who is it? Robert Whittaker. He hasn't been a champion in like 5 years.
RDR, you mean?
No, Robert Whittaker, or RDR is not even a former champion in the UFC. Robert Whittaker is a former, RDR. See what I'm saying? Yeah, RDR has that win over Whittaker. Yeah, Fluffy doesn't even have a win over a former champion. So, like, Nassourdine got a win over Izzy. So, RDR, that Robert Whittaker win for RDR, even more recent, that happened more recently than when Nassourdine knocked out Izzy. Like, not only did Nassourdine knock out Izzy, who was more recently a champion, but he knocked him out sooner, you know what I mean, after, like, he knocked him out, how do I say this? Sooner removed after being a champion. Robert Whittaker has been a champion in like 5 or 6 years, and he just knocked him out like 2 months ago. Izzy hasn't been the champion in like a year, and he just got knocked out by Imavov. He's the only guy to do it. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like so many things for Imavov are getting overlooked for just a super simple argument, which is like, well, if Fluffy gets a knockout, then that's the end all be all. And I'm just kind of like, where are we getting this from? Like, that's why I kind of say, are we just arguing we feel like arguing, or like, where's the logic coming in?
No,
Because I feel like we've been talking about a lot of this stuff, and now it's going out the window because of this whole knockout narrative.
Well, I think too, it goes back to what you said last week too about like, hey, like fans just jumping on the newest wave, right?
Yeah, what have you done for me lately?
Well, yeah, and so like this is a prime example. Even RDR, right? RDR is on a nice little wooden streak. Like if he gets a finish, he's gonna try to catapult and go right past Imavov too, right? Mm-hmm. Like you just said, he'd say, hey, I beat Robert Whittaker, I beat these guys, I beat these guys. If you were to take all the accolades that Imavov has on paper, I agree with you. You're right. I am wondering to see what they do say, or I guess Dana White hasn't been pressed on it on the question, and I'm assuming he's just going to say, let's see how this fight plays out. And I'm only assuming he says that because they think if someone does get a finish, maybe they will catapult them, and it can easier to sell. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. But I'll even go on record and be like, dude, that knockout ain't going to sell more than whatever you can get out of Nassourdine. I think they realize that. What I'll also say is, I feel, and this is the other reason why I think it's being overcomplicated, because in my opinion, I feel like it's so much easier to go, okay, Nassourdine is next, right? And to be honest, Dana should have come out somewhere and said that just to make it clear for everybody, right? But he hasn't. Right. So that's why everybody's also like putting all this stuff out there, because Dana hasn't just come out and said Nassourdine's next. It would help out a lot if he did that.
Yeah.
I feel like they should just say Nassourdine's next, and then the winner of Fluffy RDR is after that. I mean, like, they get ample notice, right? The winner of RDR Fluffy will know they're next as well, but it's just going to be after Imavov gets his shot, and then the winner gets to face them. All cut and dry. We're all good. But then I think the reason why some of this stuff gets lagged on is because you guarantee title shots, right? This is some of the stuff. This is why you got to talk about it, because you got to get to the minutia. We wouldn't have gotten through to this if we didn't fucking discuss it. They sometimes don't want to talk about this stuff because contracts. Fluffy got 1-2 fights left on his deal, right? They're not going to promise anybody a title shot, because what's going to happen? They're going to start negotiating. Well, my next fight's a title shot. So I think I want to make, $200,000 to show, $200,000 to win, or I want that $500,000. So give me 250, right. 250, right? But if they never promise that title shot, keep them needy, then they go ahead, pressure them into signing a new contract for less than 250, 250. Hey, you know what?
Squeeze as much as I can out.
So-and-so's pulling out. You want to hop in there, whatever the case, for a title shot. Now they got the title shot for 300 bands instead of a potential 500. Right. So I think that's why Dana's not saying shit. And then you got people helping out Dana, making it more complicated for the fighters, right? Being like, you don't deserve it, you don't deserve it. When it's like, if you were to probably ask Dana, why haven't you fucking come out and said shit? It's because he's like, I know that if I promise Fluffy a title shot or RDR a title shot with the win, and I promised Nassourdine and Caio a title shot with the win, I'm gonna have to start paying more out of my pocket. It's like the laws of power, bro. You got to keep it tucked in for as long as possible, right? To get the most out of it. If you over show your hand, then people know how to play you.
Right. Some power moves.
They know how to play you. You show me your hand, you got pocket aces. Okay, I'm a fold. Right? That's what happens if you promise a title shot, especially 2 out. But I'm just saying, the most logic, because I don't try to save Dana's pockets like that. I look at it from a perspective for the fighters. How can they make good money, right? And so I'm not counting the UFC's pockets when I say best case scenario, Imavov title shot, and then promise winner of RDR, Fluffy a title shot. I think everybody deserves title shots. Just win your fight and you get a title shot.
And who do you think, let's say that it's a lackluster performance and it's a decision, and that, do you think then they announce Imavov gets Hamzat, and the winner of that one fights DDP?
If it's a lackluster performance on that end, yeah, you maybe could give him DDP. So that would be the other option. Maybe they're also not gonna guarantee Fluffy the shot or RDR, because in case that one's boring too. But I at least think they should have guaranteed Imavov the shot. And I can justify Fluffy RDR because they haven't done the body of work Imavov's done. If they had a knockout over Izzy, bro, I would be speaking different. But I think Fluffy and RDR, if it is boring, or not boring, but if it goes to a decision or something like that, or it's not super crazy definitive, and there's not a clear level gap between the two fighters shown, then I actually wouldn't be opposed to putting him up against DDP. But in my opinion, I think it's a waste of time to do that to Imavov. Think about it. You're going to knock off an Imavov, okay, if he potentially loses to DDP. DDP just lost the belt dominantly to Kamzat. So we're going to throw DDP back in there?
I get that.
So it's
you got to put some new blood in there.
Yeah, but
give him a shot.
I feel like, DDP goes out there. After Imavov gets his title shot, DDP can face the winner of RDR Fluffy. Okay, now, RDR or Fluffy beats a DDP, you're certified, bro. Like, DDP got respect in the game. And he got... DDP got respect in the game that Fluffy and RDR can capitalize on. Imavov, he beats DDP. We're going to keep saying the same shit. Imavov is not getting appreciated for his win over Caio. As if Caio's not a great fighter. As if Caio wasn't undefeated in the UFC. Yeah. Right? So, I feel like Imavov, he keeps getting the goalpost moved. And even if he did fight Dreykus and beat him, the goalpost's still being moved. Just give him the fucking title shot.
Well, no, and I think I agree with you too. Like, what if he lost, and then it's like, now what do we do with DDP since he already just lost to Hamzat?
Dominantly, it wasn't even close.
You gotta throw somebody else in there to be like, all right, and then put DDP back to work to earn that shot back.
Yeah.
He doesn't need to win, like 1 or 2 fights. It's not like he's not far back from it to try to redeem it. But yeah, I agree with you on that. I'm interested to see. I'm surprised no one asked Dana yesterday at the Dana White the DWCS.
He doesn't show up to those press conferences anymore.
But don't they when they're doing the contracts, they have the reporter with them and everything?
Yeah, but he never speaks about anything. It's only contender series shit.
He stays it right there.
Yeah, it's not like a free for all for them. The press conference was, but he doesn't attend it. So
yeah,
I guess he doesn't need to.
Homegirl should have asked him that in her interview about the boxing.
Yes, she definitely should have. So, just to speak about that a little bit, I see, it's going viral right now. I'm pulling up the bookmarks just because there's, like, some basic commentary about it. So, basically, Dana goes ahead, and he's asked about the Muhammad Ali Act, okay? And he says he's in support of it and all these kinds of things. As a refresher to people out there who aren't familiar, the Muhammad Ali Act is an act that basically protects fighters. This is why boxers have been able to make a lot more money, right, in comparison to what promoters make, right? The only paydays that happen over, 6 figures, or sorry, $100 million fights only happen in boxing. The reason why is because of the Muhammad Ali Act, right? Now, Dana White wants to come into boxing, but he can't because boxing is against his pay model in the UFC. The UFC is completely different. The UFC, right, fighters, just to put it like this, bluntly, the fighters never made over 100 million, right? So he can't come in here and compete with that. So that's why he's trying to do the Muhammad Ali Boxing Revival Act. And simply put, boxing has 4 belts: WBC, WBA, IBA, and I think like WBO or something like that. Dana wants to come in and basically make boxing like the UFC, where it's one belt. Get rid of all 4 belts, just 1 belt. So it's the UBO, United Boxing Organization. Only run by Dana White, pretty much, and Turki Al-Sheikh. So this is causing a stir because if Dana goes ahead and does this, then no more $100 million fights in boxing. And so people are questioning, you know what I mean? Why are you kind of wanting to do this? Like, what's the reasoning behind it? And he's basically saying, well, boxing's broken. I want to make it a real business and all this kind of stuff.
He's selling his argument.
He's selling his argument. He's saying, there's no money in boxing. People just basically, it's a going out of business sale. It's the same old tired arguments. Now, the biggest issue with all this is, how do I say this? I think Dana's coming off super disingenuous. Dana's saying weird shit. Like, let me give you a perfect example. Okay. In the Muhammad Ali Act, I think it constitutes like something like, it was done so long ago, but it's like fighters have to get at least like a minimum of $100 a round, right?
Yeah.
That's what it was at the time. Now Dana's coming in and exploiting that. Even though fighters don't get $100 a round, nobody gets paid that money. That's like the lowest of the low. Dana's coming in and using that and acting as if like that's the standard model. Like everybody's getting paid $100 a round. And on top of that, he just wants to raise it up to $150 a round. So it's like you're going to raise it up like $50 a round, and that's one of your biggest selling points.
Which is nothing, right?
I mean, like, so what? You're going to like call it 10 rounds. $50 times 10 is what? An extra fucking like $500?
Right.
Like, you're complaining saying these guys are making $15,000 for a world title fight. But if I fucking come in, you're going to make $15,500. Like, what are you talking about?
And just so everybody knows, the Muhammad Ali Boxing Reform Act is a 2000 U.S. law that amended the 1996 Professional Boxing Safety Act to protect professional boxers from exploitation by requiring minimum contract standards, separating promoter, manager interests, promoting fair rankings, and establishing rules for sanctioning organizations. Its purpose is to provide greater transparency, fairness, and health and safety protection for boxers who were previously subject to abuses like rigged matches and unfair contract terms. And as everybody knows, Muhammad Ali ended up, kind of going, I think it was dementia.
Alzheimer's or something like that.
Alzheimer's, yeah.
So here's like one of the quotes from Dana. He goes, this is a headline. Dana believes transparency on pay would make life tougher for fighters. There's no gag order. This is a quote from Dana. There's no gag order on any of these fighters. They could all sit down and do full interviews on how much they make and what they were paid. They don't want to because they don't want you to know what they get paid. When people find out what you make, it makes life a lot tougher. There are a lot of people sitting around looking for handouts when they find out you made millions of dollars. So these are like Dana's little things he says, but it's
about
like
UFC. That was about UFC fighters.
This is about UFC fighters, but like Dana said this probably 30 times in his life already. Like if you ask him this question again, he's going to give you that same answer. It's like, you don't know that, bro. And like, let's just play this.
When they find out you...
Duplessis and Chimaev, I think, what did Duplessis make? $1 million base pay?
Ask them. I mean, it's not my place to talk about. That's the other thing, too. There's no gag order on any of these fighters. They could all sit down and do full interviews with you guys on how much they make and what they were paid. They don't want to because they don't want you to know what they got paid. When people find out what you made, it makes life a lot tougher. There's a lot of people sitting around looking for handouts when they find out you made millions of dollars. But any of these fighters, you could do interviews with any of them. They could lay out their entire pay structure for you. But it's kind of weird. None of them do it, right?
So let me say like this. This is actually right after she got done asking Dana if a fighter's ever made $100 million in the UFC. And he says Conor McGregor did. And then she says, well, he did in boxing when it was against Floyd. So it wasn't like, has anybody made it under the UFC's banner? And then she goes ahead and says this, which is because Hamzat and DDP fought last weekend in a title fight. That's a world championship fight. How much did they make? Like a million or something like that? And instantly he goes in and starts saying whatever he just said as far as...
He basically said, go ask them how much they made.
Go ask them how much they made.
I'm not going to disclose that amount.
But again, what's interesting is that... And then he goes saying like, nobody wants to tell you and all this stuff. But again, the main thing to the question, right, is the boxers make $100 million. That's the fight happening this weekend. Canelo Crawford, $100 million fight, right? Then you have also DDP Hamzat that happened last weekend. She's trying to compare, if you get these guys who make $100 million, then you get your guys who make $1 million, right? And you're trying to bring this pay model into boxing. How is that going to work? So that's the biggest thing. And then Dana's going to say, well, because in the UFC, right, I spread the money more evenly. So like people...
When he said you eat what you kill?
He said you eat what you kill.
Right.
But again, I don't know what that fucking means. Like fucking use English or something. Like you eat what you kill. What the hell are you talking about? Just tell me what you mean. I don't know what that means. Like I'm trying to use my like interpretation skills if I try to figure that one out. Like I don't know what you kill.
Right.
Like I mean like okay, eat what you kill probably means you get what you bring into the company.
Well, you get who you beat.
Or
Whoever you eat, whoever you eating, whoever you beating.
yeah, but
that's
that makes
gonna
less
get
sense
paid.
to me. I feel like it's like if you make $1 million, generate that, then you eat what you kill, even though you don't kill $1 million. That must be
Yeah.
what he means. But it's a bad example because if you
It's-
take
it's
it
so
literally,
interesting.
it's about his opponent.
It's so interesting in that interview, and shout out to that homegirl of asking those questions.
Mm-hmm.
Typically, you see a woman interview like someone like Dana White, they'll kind of like do a Nina drama, like a lot of easy softballs. She came in.
She did come in.
She did come in. A lot of respect to her. Do we know her name?
We don't know her name. Ariel gave her a shout though, so I think she's fine as far as getting credit.
Okay. All right. But no, I mean she came in much respect, but it was interesting because you said earlier about showing your hand. He showed his hand a little bit about pay structure internally for the UFC because he said, I'm trying to model this organization to compete with the NFL, to compete with the NBA, to compete whoever we're against Saturday. He knows that their and he even said to create an organization that you watch the prelims. That's what they built the UFC to do. They have really produced a really good product to go to somebody like a Paramount and say, look it, our people are watching this product from this time, from prelims to the end. We have curated our fighters. We've curated our markets. It's a great selling point of that's why he got so much money from Paramount, because he now knows he can compete with, I don't know about Saturday college football, but he's definitely in the market of putting a lot of eyes on his product during that time on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
They know that for a fact. So he's now trying to say, hey, we're going to do that for boxing. But then to go and be like, hey, the pay structure, they're really the ones eating because they're diminishing contracts and not giving people really the equal pay. Like you just said, $1 million compared to 100, that's a huge difference.
Huge difference.
That's a huge difference.
Massive.
And I may being a UFC, more of a UFC fan, like I may watch the boxing fight, but he's right in the aspect. Would I watch any of those prelims? Not one.
Yeah.
Not one. And it was something interesting that he said too was that, well, not all the fighters are getting paid, the 100 million, which is true. There's only probably like 4 fighters that we could say in boxing that are going to get 100 million.
Yeah, but if you look at the top boxers in boxing and you look at the top guys in the UFC, the top boxers in boxing actually live that life. And I mean, you still see it like out.
Garcia, right? Garcia, Devin Haney, Crawford.
Even the lower guys, even like trying to think of his name. Oh, it's gonna slip my mind.
You'll remember, Nick.
Caleb Plant, like a white
Okay.
dude. He's a champion, but he's not like super like on that Canelo level. Caleb Plant more wealthy than 99% of the UFC roster.
The Logan dude.
Logan Paul,
Yeah.
Jake Paul.
I'm sure he's making more.
Why do you think they went into boxing?
Yeah.
They could have chose boxing or UFC.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So, I think that Dana is kind of like. I don't like that Dana does this. I think it's like super
Shady?
shady. I think like he masks his intentions behind caring for fighters when like his actions, they don't resemble that. Like if you cared about fighters, then you would like not be in favor of this revival act. I feel like if you cared about your bottom dollar, then you would care about this revival act. And it's like, that's exactly what you're showing. You care about your bottom dollar because you can't get into this sport with the bank account that you have right now. You don't have 100 M's to pay multiple fighters. So that's why you're coming in. You want this revival act so you can pay and deal on a business level on your. It's like basically, I mean, truth be told, it's like Dana's coming in being like, you guys are too wealthy for me. Can you guys like bring down your budget so I can deal with you? It's like he's going to a high roller table being like, listen, I know we usually deal in the 50, 100 millions, but can we deal with in like single digit millions?
Right.
It's like, I mean, like that's what I hear from this. That's the main thing I see from it is Dana can't afford it, and Dana is bringing down the pay scale so he can come in and deal business. But it's like, dude, if you can't afford this shit, that's why you're trying to appeal it, because you can't afford it.
I see this. He is going to try to take his UFC blueprint curating fighters, curating markets, curating a time slot on Saturdays.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's going to go to who's the business partner? The Sheik.
Turkey Al Sheik.
Right. Because he said that in an interview. And then he'll pay them the money. When we get them to that point. So he's almost like saying, hey, we're going to curate a bunch of boxers the same way we've done with the UFC. And when they get to that top-notch premier level, he'll pay them. Not me.
Yeah. I heard that too. And this is what I'll have to say about that. I think that's him admitting defeat right away, that this Revival Act isn't going to happen. Because, and it already got shut down in California. There's like a bunch of appeals on it. So it like got postponed. So I think he's seeing it's not really going to happen. I think this is almost plan B. Because this isn't how he was talking. He wasn't saying, oh, I want to be a contender series of boxing. He wanted to deal with the Canelos and the Crawfords. I mean, come on, let's be real. You think Dana ever had aspirations of not dealing with the big dogs? I think he's admitting defeat, being like, yeah, I'm not going to be able to deal in these big business deals with 100 M's because the Revival Act isn't going to get passed. That's a guess on my part. And then he's saying, now that he's settling into this little contender series route, and then saying, once I
That's
get
basically
them,
what he's doing.
once
spinning it,
and once
pivoting.
they're outpriced, I'm gonna have to send him off to Turkey. So he's just like a record label passing him off to like a big dog. He's like a fucking Fury, like a fucking Cage Warriors now, passing him off to the UFC. So I don't know, like, you know, that doesn't sound super. I don't know the word you want to use, but it doesn't sound like super lucrative or like he's super convinced that the Muhammad Ali Act is gonna get passed.
And when is that supposed to be? Because I see in July 2025, representatives introduced the Muhammad Ali Act, Revival Act, to bipartisan bill to update. Do you know when it's supposed to go on the floor, or?
I don't know.
Okay, but probably by the end of this year.
Probably by the end of this year. All I saw was like, there's a new headline this week where it says,
It's currently pending legislation review and sparked considerable debate within the boxing community and with regulatory bodies such as the California State Athletic Commission. So it sounds like it was okay. So it was presented in July 2025, the Revival Act, to the House of Representatives. So now it's currently pending legislative. So they don't really have a date moving forward, but behind the scenes, okay, I see now.
They don't have a date moving forward, and then what happened is it says, like on Monday, it says the commission has now postponed what many thought would be a rubber stamping of approval to changes in the Professional Boxing Safety Act. But during this week's hearing, 100% of voices calling into the commission spoke out against the changes.
And you know what's so interesting is like the lobbyists behind the scenes. This is how just greasy fucking politics is just in general. The guys lobbying under this boxing Dana White thing, right? Behind the scenes paying politicians through lobbyists be like, hey, we don't want you to pass this.
Well, that would make sense because the California Commissioner Andy Foster has been speaking out in favor of this, and everybody's wondering why. Because he's a commissioner, like it doesn't like only people would speak at. Basically, only people would agree with this are people who are related to Dana and care about Dana's pockets. If you don't care about Dana's pockets, there's no reason for you to be on his side.
Yeah.
It's like a super selfish endeavor.
It's a game within a game right now, right? Because he's realized, and it's almost like when these oil companies are having something against them trying to be passed into the House of Representatives or the Senate. Mm-hmm. The lobbyists, which they can't personally go and talk to someone that's there. But they can hire a firm to say, hey, we want you to bend them. Can you donate to their next election?
That's what's happening.
Donate.
And guess what's even more shady about this? Guess who would have the final stamp of approval? Let's say this passes whatever legislation it has to pass, and it gets
Trump. I fucking knew it.
How shady is that though?
That's politics 101, baby. No wonder.
And look at the timing on this.
They're playing the long game. They're playing the long game.
Dana waited for Trump to get in office.
Yeah.
It was all a thing where I think behind the scenes they said, look, if Trump gets in office, then is the time for us to propose the Muhammad Ali Act because Trump is your friend. You can sign off on it, blah, blah, blah. So just keep all that in mind. If Dana had to wait for Trump to get elected just to feel comfortable enough to present it, that should tell you a lot too. That's what I'm saying. Like, when I see Dana coming in this, I don't even need to fucking decipher too much. Like, as far as like technicalities, I'm just trying to tell you guys, it shows nothing but selfishness as far as like, this is all for Dana. And I feel like a lot of Dana's brainwashed fucking fans are supporting him. And it's like, dude, you guys are so close, you don't even see through the forest.
It's the epitome of corporate greed.
It's the epitome. It's the epitome.
No, it really is. I mean, if we were to look at it at its core, and it was very telling, like I said, what he said. I know you said earlier, when you a talking point for me would be what he said about the NFL and the NBA, because in his mind, since they've been doing this, they knew those are the leagues, there were organizations that they were going to be going face to face. How do we get a consumer to watch our product instead of X that's going to be on Saturday afternoon, Sunday night? Mm-hmm. How do we curate our fighters? How do we curate our markets? It's a very intelligent way they've done it, and they have succeeded because they now know that they have tapped into a consumer advertisement. That at the end of the day, that's all this all comes down to. Hey, Paramount, we have 5, 10, 20 million people on this time frame at this age group that we can tap into. We want to sell you the rights to what we do, and we already have the markets curated. We can look what we just did in France.
Mm-hmm.
Look what we just did in France. You see how well we do? We just sold out all. What are the stats every time they go in there? Oh, we just had the most we just had the most seats sold out. We just had the most franchise. What do they call the gate? Merchandise. Views on the product, downloads, whatever the case may be. That's just all selling points for them to compete against these other organizations during those times, like to get more advertisement dollar, corporate greed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, shout out Dana, I guess you could say. Shout out to Dana. I don't think that Muhammad Ali act is going to get passed. I think he's already admitting defeat, but it is what it is. Now let's get into a couple more like fucking topics that are easy to understand, because my brain's low-key hurting a little bit from fucking Dana White and all his bullshit. We got some good ones. SD Dumas is broke.
I saw that that went viral on Twitter.
Yeah, I figured it would.
Now, that was a personal conversation you had with him, or is that?
No, he posted it that morning, and I just fucking reposted it.
Bro, the comments were crazy though.
They are like reveling in it, and the fans. I don't understand that. Like, I don't know why people are like that.
A hot take is that people are going to put you in a box, and they're going to judge you from your previous mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's almost like, especially online, it's human nature to kick a man while he's down,
mm-hmm.
especially when he has been down a lot. He's made a lot of bad decisions,
Yeah.
So he has a lot. And just it's people online, right? Would they say
low-hanging fruit? He offers a lot of it.
Would they say that to his face? Hell no. Would they say that online? Yes. Now, does a piece of me understand why people say some things? Yeah, but I think they take it too far. And maybe I'm more like you, like I don't like to throw shit like that to people.
Mm-hmm.
He's had to pay those consequences, right? That's why he's in a position that he's in.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he's sharing, with people that, hey, I'm on my down dollar, and people aren't. They're not trying to like, oh man, I hope you win your next fight, man. Sorry for you. They're definitely not trying to feel bad for him. They're trying to throw more shade, and hopefully that fuels the fire for him, because that's not an easy fight.
Mm-hmm.
I was looking at that fight. That's not an easy fight.
It's a good fight. It's a tough fight for both guys.
That's a great fight.
Yeah, it's a good fight for both guys.
Yeah, I mean, if Dumas gets that win, wow.
Both guys should be proud, whoever gets the win. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not an easy opponent for either one. I think it's a really good matchup. SD and his financial situation, I think that this is where I kind of fall with it. Like, I know people are going to be quick to be like, yeah, well, you made bad financial choices and stuff. But they also are like, that's what happens when you're in court, blah, blah, blah. And like you got all these legal cases. But it's like, and then they're like, oh, didn't he pull out of his last fight? And I feel like people just throw these points out when it's like, okay, yes, to answer your question, yeah, he pulled out of his last fight in June. That was on a week's notice. Okay, so like, you know what I'm saying? And he didn't pull out. He got out of jail 2 weeks prior. A week after getting out of jail, the UFC called him to offer him a fight. Then he couldn't get his ankle monitored off soon enough. So, but people just say, but didn't he have a fight in December, but he pulled out? It's like, bro, like, I don't know. Like, that's what I don't like, is like when people say these things, but there's like explanations for shit, and then they're using these points against him. Like, they also say like, oh yeah, that's what happens when you never fight. It's like, dude, he fought in like December before that. Literally fought in December, literally fought in like, I think March or April of this year. And then he went to jail, got out, still accepted a fight. So like, he's being active. Like, but then people are just, I don't know, they have weird shit they say.
The sentiment is this. That's what he deserves.
But then they build a narrative, like they put out these points as to make their point without even like finishing the narrative. You know, they just say, that's what happens when you like pull out of a fight. And it's like, dude, what the fuck though? Like you're using, that's like saying like a half truth. That's like you doing something and then making it right in a way. And then I only point out what you did wrong. Like, I feel like that's happening a lot.
And they're using everything that he's done wrong against him, right? They're giving
it's like a culmination to this moment, as if like
you deserve this.
As if let's just say it. Charles Johnson was just broke after his 11th UFC fight. We talked about it last week. Charles Johnson was broke after his 11th UFC fight, or at least going into it. Yeah. And so, like, where is that? Like, where is anybody saying like, oh shit, maybe the UFC has something to do with this? Like, maybe they're not getting paid enough.
I'll give you a better analogy.
Like, maybe.
I'll give you a better analogy. Jon Jones just had to back out of a fight because of why?
Legal troubles?
Because you're supposed to go to court.
In theory, I have a new theory, but right now, as it stands right now,
that's the sentiment, right?
That's the sentiment.
If we were to take the same sentiment, right? Mm-hmm. Jon Jones did this to himself. Jon Jones deserves it. However, Jon Jones, they know, is a multimillionaire. Conor McGregor too. If you were to, you're taking the same ideology, right? And to say that, you know, because of all these bad things you've done in your life, you know, we're gonna kick you when you're down. You know, I think that's just part of human nature. But no, that got a lot of views, a lot of negative hate.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of negative hate.
It's fine, but I think all that was to say.
I hope he uses it for fuel. I mean, he's gonna have to, right? You need money.
Definitely. But I even just want to pull it up so I can speak clearly on it. Let's just see how active he is as a fighter, because almost like people just want to, instead of actually, like, if you're going to be interested enough to comment, right, if you hate the guy enough, then I'm just like, dude, at least look into it and tell the fucking truth about it. Like, It's like, okay, he literally fought so he fought August of 2024, okay? Then, yeah, it's been it was a year ago in August, but then he also fought in April. So August, September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April. So like 7 months. Could have fought sooner, but 7 months. And now he's fighting again. So, I mean, in the last year, he's on his third fight, like year and a half. I don't know. To say he's like inactive and shit like that, I don't think is the right thing to say. I think this guy's accepted a lot of fights. Like, okay, look, 1, 2.
Who did he lose to?
He had 1, 2, 3 fights in 2023, 2 fights in 2024. He's on his second fight in 2025.
Michael, yeah. I was really rooting from that fight, and he rocked to Nursultan. Yeah.
Shout out to SD.
Yeah, those are 2 KOs too that he got. Those are tough, man.
That kind of will bring us into.
I'm rooting for him this weekend. I like Jake Matthews.
Who do you think is going to win between SD and Zach Reese?
Say that one more time.
Who do you think is going to win between SD and Zach Reese?
Oh, I thought I must got confused. I thought he was fighting Jake Matthews. He's fighting Zach Reese.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, I am going with Dumas. Winning changes the whole conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I want to see him like stay out of trouble. I want to see him get some wins in the UFC. You know, take his career to the next level. Like, I want to see this success story.
Mm-hmm. I think he's turning a new leaf. I honestly think he's turning a new leaf based off the conversation I had. And if you don't believe me, go look at the interview. I think he definitely got advice from Joaquin and Phil Rowe. He took it to heart. He's been trying his best. This is what I'll also say about about him having like a low bank account.
Yeah.
Kind of sucks because that is life in a way. You know what I mean? Like, I don't got $1 million in my bank account. I don't even got like fucking, more than like $500 in my bank account, and that's pretty fucking high for me. Like, if if I didn't have what I got in my bank account right now, it'd be probably below $100. Like, I'm just keeping it a buck too. I ain't no fucking lifelong criminal and shit like that. Like, life's just tough. Like, when you gotta take care of yourself, when you're on your own and shit, when you're buying groceries, like living on your own, paying actual rent, right? Life ain't fucking easy.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that when I see SD having that money in his account, like, that's me too. After the first of the month, I got shit for like a week until I get paid again because I just paid my fucking rent. Yeah. And then also my credit cards get paid at the beginning of the month too. So it's like a double hit. It's like my rent plus the credit cards. Like, I gotta wait until the first week usually ends of the month to like go buy my groceries again. So like, I'll put myself in the category too. Like, you're gonna call SD saying that's what he deserves because of his actions. Like, I got that and I've done less in my life. Like, that shit happens to me. So no need to be so hard on people. I feel like that's like literally life for a lot of people. And like I also said, Charles Johnson was talking about this last week. But he's not a dumbass. But then everybody just wants to latch on the shit about SD like he's a dumbass. And I get it. Maybe he's brought it upon himself. But I feel like I feel like people should be a little bit better than that, The amount of people who really pile on is kind of crazy. I feel like there's something to it. Maybe like we got to study humanity a little bit. But like the amount of people who piled on to make that post over 1 million views.
And still growing.
And it was all like, fuck this guy. That's what you deserve. Dumbass. Last name is fitting. Like, all this shit. Like, they love to get mad at him for whatever reason.
Yeah, see, that's why I think that a win will taste so sweet.
Yeah.
Like, all right, I got some money back in me. Like, the results will be the ultimate win.
Mm-hmm.
Just because it helps you money-wise. A win turns fans. That's what's the funny thing is. Win turns those fans to be like, oh, man, he's back.
The same way it works against you, it works for you, right? Yeah. The way that like he just got arrested last, April or something like that. So that's recent. The fans are going to use that. But whatever happens this month after this fight, they're going to use that. They're almost going to forget about the arrest.
And I think too, it's like, for example, a few years ago when, he's gotten in trouble, it's like, oh, and then he gets in trouble a year ago, and then he gets in trouble again this year. It's like fans will also be like, bro, again? Like, you get disappointed and you're like, I can't bet on you because you keep making these mistakes.
Mm-hmm. It's funny though, because when you look at like the human perspective, like if I speak about a conversation with you, right, or I speak about it like I did on air with Joaquin and Phil, everybody kind of like when they hear it out, they're like, you know what, I wish the best for the guy. Like, that sucks to have a life like that. I know he's messed up, but we all mess up, right? And like, we can all change too. You made it to the UFC, so why crash out now? You know what I mean? Why not make that pivoting change in your life to move on from your past, right? Yeah. That's what all of us kind of have been, putting out there. Me, you, Phil Rowe, Joaquin, right? And that's the human perspective. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, it disheartens me when I see people commenting that shit. And I'm just like, where the fuck does that stuff come from, bro? Because like, if we speak in person, you don't wish that upon people. But something about, I don't know, being behind that, maybe like it's motivated by likes on comments. There's something like pushing that.
I think that he's an easy target because he has put himself in his position by making these mistakes, right?
Yeah.
And so, I mean, just what we're gonna do moving forward. Get the win this weekend, get your life back on track. Those are the most important things. Could care less what anybody says online. If those people like Phil Rowe and Joaquin are behind you and are being there for you, your brothers that are in the gym,
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like, just having that community around you and surrounding yourself with the right people that will help you get back on the right track,
Mm-hmm.
So you're not in those like positions like, man, I had a strap today.
Right.
Got caught up, got pulled over, oh man,
So I think the resurgence starts this weekend. Let's go SD. We're rooting for SD. A lot of people aren't. The whole world's against him. You always need a couple people rooting for you. So I'll take the flack. I'm a root for SD.
And I think that was a tough loss for Mike Mikal, right? He got to get back. I mean, this is a low key a must win.
Must win. Oh, it's a must win.
For multiple reasons.
It's a must win. Let's just touch on Noche UFC quickly. I mean, I'll keep it real. Give me your 2-minute take real quick and we'll move on from it. Noche UFC, a little bit of a lackluster card. I'm not too offended. I'm not too pressed. But I do think it's a little bit lackluster. And but like I said, I'm not too pressed about it. I'm chilling on it. Maybe I'll find some guys who I like. I'm not too pressed. It's all good.
This is the first time I said I don't know if I'm gonna watch the prelims.
Yeah, I mean I don't know a lot of these names, especially that early prelim. Danil Doncheco Rodrigo Cezinando, never heard of him.
Yeah, I just don't like.
Alessandro Costa, Alden Correa, never heard of either one.
I would even the co-main. I'm like, cool.
That's because I think Rob Font had an original opponent, right? And he fell out. I think that was
Rosas Jr.
Raul Rosas fell out, and then you had Edgar Chairez fall out. That's another big Mexican. And
then I hate to say this, but neither of the main fighters are even Mexican.
They're not, right? Diego's got that. Diego's the Fluffy of the Mexicans, Latino American.
He's fighting out.
He's Brazilian
Latino. But he did. Yeah, his blood. Yeah,
his blood is Brazilian, right? But he lives in Mexico, and I think Fluffy's that. Blood is Mexican, but lives in America. So he's like a half Mexican.
All right.
Or you give him the fucking pass, or don't give him the pass. But that's how he's looked at, is a half Mex.
I think he's still looked at as a Brazilian. It's like Ian Gary fighting out of Brazil.
Okay, so he's not as Latin American. What is it called? Latino? He's not Latino like Fluffy. You think he's more accepted in Brazil?
Well, he 100% is accepted in Brazil because he's Brazilian. But I think Mexico has it's like how they
but
have
Fluffy but America claims Fluffy. You don't think Mexico claims?
Oh yeah. Okay. I see what you're saying.
See what I'm saying?
Fluffy was born here, I believe.
Right. I think Diego's career started there or something like that. So it's different. Definitely different.
I will say this, that when you compare last year's production, I mean, you're going from one of the top-notch productions of all time, and there were some really big fights, championship fights.
Yeah.
To this year, it doesn't really measure up to what we did have. It's not a pay-per-view, so I'll take that.
True, it's not a pay-per-view.
So I'll take that. Could be a number one contender fight, right? Gene Silva's on the rise. Fighting Nerds have not had a good outing.
And this is my perfect example when you talk about Tommy McMillan from last week. I'm just gonna say, this is what I say when everyone hypes you up too much, they love to crash you down. So this is my point. Everybody's been hyping up the MMA Nerds because it's for easy likes and engagement on your little Instagram account that you run, right? You've been hyping them up prematurely because you know it's gonna get you likes and attention. But the truth is, they're not who they fucking claim to be. Claiming Mauricio Rufy is the next McGregor, right? They got it on the upside. They got it on the rise. Fluffy, the new McGregor, they got it on the rise. But you see those screenshots? Now they're comparing when Conor got knocked out or submitted by Khabib. They're making that comparison to BSD submitting Ruffy, and it's the same screenshot. Ruffy and Conor posted up against the octagon, right? And BSD and Khabib walking off, pointing to the crowd, yelling at the doubters. But Mauricio got the fucking comparisons on the way up, so you get them on the way down too. The thing is, if they would have never compared Ruffy to McGregor, which they probably shouldn't have done, they would have never fucking screenshotted that shit this last Saturday. But you guys are fucking over these guys, and that's why I say fly under the radar, bro. There's no need to get hyped up so early. Last point I'll put, Ruffy got BSD because of that fucking hype. Ruffy got BSD too early because they're hyping him too fucking soon. The only person who really belongs in the positions they're in, I'll tell you, Caio Borralho and Gene Silva. Even Carlos Prates didn't really belong fighting Ian Gary when he did last year.
Okay.
He didn't. Or what? That was earlier this year, right? That's a tough fight for him. You know what I mean? He went from a Jeff Neal to the Ian Gary fight. Jeff Neal was the right progression for him, right? Yeah. And then after he lost to Ian Gary, they ended up circling back and giving him Neal. But they pushed. See, okay, my point real quick. Prates and Neal were gonna fight, right? Then Neal pulled out of that shit, and then I think Prates ended up fighting Ian. The reason why though is because they're like, Prates needs a fight. He's getting hyped. Okay, throw him Ian. If there wasn't that whole thing of he's getting hyped, they wouldn't throw him Ian. They're pushing these guys too soon because the media accounts are hyping them the fuck up. Ruffy would have never got a guy like BSD that soon. The only two that deserve it is Caio and Gene.
And I would say this too, like, there's something to be said about these guys because, you know, it's a setup, right? Mm-hmm. I've been set up.
Classic line, famous last words for MTK.
I've been set up too many times. And Gabriel Bonfim, you know, we can go through the list of guys that I get really hyped up. Me too. I get hyped up too. However, there's some the fighting nerds have done really well with 15 to 20 guys or 15 to 25 ranking guys, right? Mm-hmm. Or even 20 to 25 guys. Guys, you're like, who are they fighting? You know, like, oh damn, but they got a fucking crazy fucking knockout. Gene Silva just beat who? Bryce Mitchell? Mm-hmm. So that's a good win.
That's a good win. That's a certified win.
Yeah. Now, I think Diego Lopes is definitely a step up in competition.
Definitely a step up, but I think he did. I'm just saying.
You think he did it the right way?
He had the right progression as far as early on. Let's say Gene skipped that Bryce Mitchell fight and they went straight to Diego. I'd be saying this is a product of the hype. Right. But I think Bryce was that good step up, like that middle ground to get you to the higher ground. You know what I mean?
Yeah. This is going to be a really good. Even with Kai, that was a really good test to see where are we really at. Mm-hmm. You know, both of these guys, even Mauricio and Carlos, like you see your camp, like, all right, now you've seen what the top 15, the top 10, the top 5 look like. This is where we're really at. Mm-hmm. Because evidently Rufy got exposed, like couldn't do shit on the ground. Like great game plan by BSD. Mm-hmm. Great. No one really, I mean, I wasn't going in there thinking BSD was going to take him down.
I actually picked Ruffy going into the fight, so full disclosure.
I did too. You know, I did too, and I think, you know, he looked really good, but BSD, what a great fight IQ. Mm-hmm. Great game plan. I commend you for that after coming off some bad losses.
And he went through the fire. He took that loss to Poirier, then he took that loss to Moicano. Yeah, two big ones.
And he got caught. You know, when you get caught, right? And I think in this fight, he was like, let me take away his greatest asset. I know I'm good on the ground. Let me see what he does here. I thought that was so smart. Because those top 5 guys, that's what you're going to do. So I'm excited to see what happens next for BSD. Maybe those losses helped him. And with Gene Silva this weekend, we were talking about UFC Noche. My bad. I know I went backwards. Talking about how excited I am for the card. I mean, like I said, I think that on big picture, hot take, I wish they would have done how they've curated their France fighters the same way with Mexican fighters. And I was trying to think of like, okay, well, who should they have had on the card that are from Mexico? And I was like, yeah, the Rosas Jr., he had to back out. You can't fault yourself. Right. But there is a handful of other fight. Maybe the Alexa Grasso from Mexico.
Are you familiar with Loco Torres? I think Manuel Torres or something. I really like that guy. He's like a former Mexican cop. Needed to be on this card. I expected it.
And so like I was thinking in that like Alexa Grasso, like I wouldn't mind her on the card. But then I thought, well, when was the last time she fought?
I mean, Tracy's a staple for this card.
Tracy Cortez would have been perfect for this card. She's a staple.
Brandon Moreno wanted to be on this card with Brandon Royval. They were asking for it.
We could have pushed that, you know, but I don't think that they, either like last year they put so much hype around the Mexican Noche, like UFC Noche, and really curating that card. They really did a good job. The homeboy that the other Mexican dude that he was talking all that shit at the press conference at UFC Noche last year.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
You would have been, you know what I mean? Like you got a stable of guys that you could have reached out to and be like, hey, if you're thinking a year in the future, right?
Yeah.
Like, okay, we got 20 guys.
Like we're saving these guys for fucking, September.
Right. Unless these are championship fights and they're just ready to go right now, right? Can we put them 1 or 2 cards ahead? Like, let's say we fight them once, right? But if you got 20, you could still narrow down, okay, we got our 10 then.
And Noche's big enough to where they do plan that like months and months out.
Yeah, and so
there's
that's
not an excuse to not have this card as fire as it should be.
Right. And so maybe too there's that there's not enough Mexican fighters at the top that they can reach out to like that. We've named a few, right? I think the Anthony Hernandez, fight would have been kind of cool, A handful of guys I can kind of see, but I was like, I mean, this is just, I'm being nitpicky, right? Neither fighter is from Mexico.
No, that's kind of a big deal though. You want to have a Mexican in there.
At the main fight.
And to be honest, I mean, it's no diss to last year's card because I found it fine. But it's kind of crazy. 2 years in a row now, no Mexican main event. They were just trolling. They had to resort to trolling in that last one with O'Malley versus Merab.
Yeah.
Saying they're both Mexican, even though they weren't.
At least you gave us a championship fight.
Yeah, they did. They did.
You're giving us kind of like a... Didn't Diego lose to Alexander Volkanovski?
He did. Now that he's on redemption.
So what's Diego going to do? Go back and fight Alex? You know what I mean? So like...
Actually, Diego... said Lerone should probably get the shot next. So even Diego saying with the win on Saturday, he doesn't even expect a title shot. He knows he's got more work to do.
Yeah. Lerone's another conversation. He is undefeated, but I don't know. I'll give it 6 out of 10.
6 out of 10. Yeah, it's mediocre.
And I just expected more,
It's fine though because there's the Canelo Crawford. If there was no Canelo Crawford, I would be a little bit more pressed about it. And I'm gonna say this little hot take prediction in the future. I think even though this card kind of sucks low key on paper, I feel like it'll probably turn out to be a good card.
I mean, they always do, right?
A lot of them do.
Well, like what they said with the Paris being the best fight card of the year. Mm-hmm. There wasn't a championship fight on there. Yeah, there was a lot of finishes in the prelims. The UFC, this is something else the UFC does really well, bro. In the prelims, they put 2 people up against each other that they know there's going to be fireworks. That's how they kind of like set it up to get you
little mismatches.
And like the homegirl Molly, the Irish girl, and she fought I'm gonna forget the name, but they kicked it off. Molly had a lot of hype around her. 7-1, I believe. She got dominated. By someone that was a veteran. So that's a setup almost. Mm-hmm. There was a couple setup in there. And so the matchmakers do a really good job putting these fights together to put together fireworks. They know that top echelon fighters on the main card is going to be a lot more technical because you're having a lot more skills going into the ring and they have a lot more on the line where they're going to be a little bit more strategic. Mm-hmm. They're just not going to go out there and just Renat, that didn't impress me. He got the win, but it didn't impress me.
Mm-hmm. So they go out. You're saying the UFC will try to curate knockouts to happen earlier with expectation that the higher fights on the card will be a little bit more close contested. So they sprinkle in the finishes early just in case. But then best case scenario, you get finishes in the main and co-mains and shit like that too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But at least you kind of guaranteed them some finishes, the little thirsty fans just dying for a knockout.
The Hamzat versus the Nassourdine, that was not a spectacular. There was no spectacular win all 5 rounds, right? Mm-hmm. I think the co-main event, we did get a finish there. Their Paris guys performed. Gomez, I wasn't impressed with that fight either, with Gomez.
It was okay.
Yeah, it was okay. Like the level of competition that you were fighting, and this is what we were getting, and you're expecting here, And so people watching right now, Perry Punch and I, we kind of know these guys and their markets, and so I guess that's what I'm saying with here. I could go down a list of people, and we just named a handful right now that they could have curated this a little bit better with Mexican fighters from Mexico.
Right.
And that's all I'm saying.
But yeah, I would have to say about that Paris card.
The Brazilian card. Dude, they're stacked with Brazilian fighters.
Well, of course, and they got Charles Oliveira as the headliner, I think. if we talk about this Paris card, just that part about like it being the best card ever, I do agree. It's a great card, but when they say like card of the year, I think it's like a little bit of recency bias because yes, there were a lot of finishes, but that's not all that goes into a great card. We also want to talk about matchups, and we want to talk about if it was headlined by 1 title fight, 2 title fights, if they delivered. So like, you know, you can't just grade it on a scale of how many finishes happened. You know what I'm saying? Like the finishes also have grading scales too. Like one finish could be, you know, better than another finish, and obviously the higher, like the Max Holloway Justin Gaethje finish was because of 2 high level guys. You get a finish like that almost trumps the whole fucking card itself.
Buzzer beater.
That could trump 6 knockouts. You know what I mean? Just having that one. So, you know.
And you had the whole experience about the fans, and this is the second time I've watched in France. You know what I realized about these foreign, like not in the United States. Okay, United States is a weird market because when you go into an arena, you have so many different cultures that are there. When you go to a France fight, it's like going to a football game. They already have their chants down. They've been doing this for fucking, you know, decades, centuries of how they root on their
and it's not a split crowd. They're all right. They're on the same page.
Like, and that's why I love the Aussie fans too. You love those markets, even Brazil. You love those markets because they're all pretty much soccer fans.
Die hard for their nation.
Right.
Doesn't matter who the favorite is.
It's like watching watching a soccer game fan. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they have their chants. That's what I love too. You get to hear their chants, and they just so riled up. Here in the United States, it's so. We don't really have like everybody's gonna go see Sean Strickland. The whole fucking place is gonna be packed for. That's not gonna happen.
It's more even based off like localities, like by region. Like if a fighter's from California, he's gonna have a California fan base, right? But it doesn't mean the whole U.S. is behind you.
If you're fighting in Anaheim,
exactly. You got to be fighting local anyway.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
So
we got a couple more topics, but I just want to hit these real quick. Okay, so I just wanted to touch on this Jon Jones one real quick, and I think we'll do Brian Ortega, and then probably quick prediction for Canelo Crawford. Jon Jones, I want to say this. So Jon Jones is trying to stay relevant, it seems. Ariel kind of exposed the man. So you've been seeing that video that's been going around, right? Of him on like a red carpet or something like that.
Yeah.
And he's kind of saying like, I'm not retired. I'm actively training. I just have to say this, get this out of the way because nobody says this.
Into the pool?
Yeah, I guess he's back in the pool. That's also what he said. But it's like, are we really good? Like, is it Groundhog's Day? Like, do I have to say Groundhog's Day every podcast? Like, why is it that every time Jon Jones gets a microphone in front of his face, it's the same question that he has answered already? Even this one. He's answered it like 6 times. He already said he's not retired. He's unretired. He's back in the drug testing pool. But every time he gets in front of a microphone and he says it, like, we all have to continue to post it.
Right.
Like, bro,
he already...
Like, we already know... Like, before this video went out, right? Before this video went out, we already knew he was unretired. And we already knew he was back in the drug testing pool. We already know about UFC White House. He's not allowed on it, but he wants to be on it. That's the reporting that came out of that video. No new information came out, but we got to talk about it. So since we're going to talk about it, this is what we're going to talk about. Not what Jon Jones said himself, but behind the scenes of how that whole video came to play. That's what we're going to talk about. Jon Jones, that person asking him a question, you notice there wasn't a company on that microphone or something like that. It didn't say USA Today, or it didn't say MMA Junkie, or fucking the Mac Life, right? You know why? Because that's his fucking publicist that he showed up to the event with, right? And they stood themselves in a little corner. Wait, first off, they went up to each other and they said, should we make a headline real quick? Since we're at like the VMAs, should we just like post you in there and like make it seem like, you know, get this so that the media blog can pick it up? Playing us. They had that conversation so the media blog can pick it up. That's why they went and did it. So they walked in a little corner on the red carpet. She records him on his phone, okay? And she says, okay, let's get a few topics out of the way. Like, are you retired? No, I'm not retired. Okay, and do you want to fight all that stuff, right? That's his publicist, right? So that's the main story here. Jon wasn't asked that question by anyone who cares because nobody cares. They're done asking that damn question. It's already been answered a bunch of times. And here he is forcing that narrative to continue being played. He wants people to keep posting about it. Next week, we're going to hear it again. Jon Jones is going to answer the question again. I'm not retired. I'm still training for the White House. You know what I mean? I'll fight the winner of Tom versus Gon. I'm in the drug testing pool. He's going to say that again. People are going to post it again. Now that we got that out of the way, first off, I'd like to hear your thoughts. Ariel exposed that. Ariel said, like, Jon wasn't talking to a real reporter. That was his publicist. And they're manufacturing that to make it seem like it's something it's not. And I want to say this last thing. Now I'm calling Jon Jones. He's becoming Joe Biden. This is why Jon Jones is becoming Joe Biden. Because Joe Biden, it came out that when he was taking COVID shots, right, and it was getting broadcasted on national media, they zoomed out of that shit, and he was, like, in a full-on, like, display room. Like, it was all manufactured. And that's Jon right now.
All staged.
All staged. And Jon staged an interview, okay, to make it seem like he's relevant. He staged an interview to make it seem like he's relevant. And he's old as fuck, right? He's already being staged out of the game due to his age. Joe Biden, we all know he was old as fuck. That's what I'm saying. Jon Jones is becoming Joe Biden. So, yeah, that's my take.
No, I mean...
But staging an interview is the main thing I'm bringing up, and I want you to fucking tell me what you think.
Yeah, no, I think that...
Sad. Down bad.
That is one word for it, because you're going to the VMAs, right? Video Music Awards, and you're
not even getting interviews. You got to fucking...
People are like, who are you?
Like, he probably went there with the intent, like, okay, let's go there because people are going to ask us. There's media there, right? And they'll ask us questions. He didn't get that with his big old fucking glasses on and his cowboy hat.
Yeah, you look goofy.
Everybody's calling him zesty. That's a fucking topic for another day.
Yeah, you look goofy. I saw a meme, like, I'm going to tell my kids that this was the UFC heavyweight of the world.
Yeah.
Something like
his
that.
His mannerisms were fucking going crazy. But...
No,
I mean, the fact that he's staging an interview, I mean, that needs to be addressed. He's staging an interview, and that's what the talking point is, not the fact of what he said.
And the fact that he went okay, think about this. He went along with it. So your publicist could say, hey, we're thinking this is a good idea. Let's get another story out there. Let's go use it. There's a space right over there. Let's go take it real quick. No, come on, let's go. I'd look at him and be like, nah, bro. I'm going to the show.
Right.
I ain't doing all that. I am not doing all that. My morals and my principles won't let me get down to that level, bro. I'm fucking the UFC champion of the world.
And that means it's like inauthentic of Jon to also play along with that. I fully agree. But he's been this way for a long time. Jon has been fucking inauthentic for a long time now. You know what I mean? And this is DC's biggest complaint about Jon. DC always goes, boy, you could turn it up, can't you? Soon as those cameras turn on, you could turn it up, but you're a real piece of crap, right? That's what DC says when the cameras are off. DC's always said this about Jon.
Yeah.
Turns it up for the cameras.
Well, and then you start, the more you present yourself, the more you can start seeing in between the lines. But what did you say earlier? The more you kind of like expose yourself. Mm-hmm. You start showing how you play your hands.
Now they're going to fucking...
Because now you're seeing the
thought process
and the links in the armor, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you threw on a. You ever see that video where someone like throws on like a plate of armor, but it's two because the first one is like riddled with like fucking broken links. On paper, it looks good. For the photo, right? You take that one off, it's just all clustered. So this is a prime example of like some of his antics aren't as cute anymore. And now he's trying to create storylines to still stay relevant. It is a little cringy.
Yeah,
because you didn't even need to do all that. Like, oh, Jon Jones was at the VMAs. Picture, boom.
Right.
Cool. We would have been like, cool, dog, go do you.
He almost didn't even need to do that little thing because, like we just said, he already answered those questions.
Beneath you.
Yeah, it's beneath him. The headline is already out. Now you just come off like you're begging. And now look at what we're talking about. We're talking about this, the truth, instead of what you said. So you did that thinking that we were going to fucking take the bait and talk about what you said. We're not. We're talking about how that whole thing went down.
And it's interesting too is the way you see it, the way your show sees it, is that you see how everybody else reports on it, and you're like, well, that's the easy hanging fruit. Like You're gonna post that again? We've already seen that. This is recycled news.
Recycled news. He's just saying it on a different day.
Right.
He's saying
Different
it on
clothes.
Wednesday instead of Tuesday.
Different clothes, different
He's
sunglasses.
wearing a new outfit.
Right, same story though.
Same fucking questioning and everything.
Nothing's changed here.
Not a single new fucking detail, yeah.
But no, they want to run with it because now look at now we can post this. Now
It's a new one. I need my third post of the day. So it's all good.
Exactly.
I get the game. I will say this though. So I just want to kind of lay out the chronology real quick and say, so Jon retired, right? I said he's coming out of retirement. There ain't no way he's retiring. He ended up coming out of retirement. He also had that legal battle. We're wondering what's going to happen to him. I said nothing's going to happen to him. Nothing happened to him. The main thing we were wondering, though, was why he retired, right? The retirement didn't make sense because if you remember, I was saying you built this Aspinall fight, right? You built it all the way up just to retire, It made no sense. Now it makes sense why Jon retired. He's still going to recoup the money on the Aspinall fight that he built. The reason why he retired, in my opinion now, is so that Tom would fight Ciryl first. I think that's what Jon was basically saying the whole time. Tom can fight Ciryl. I'm taking my time. I'll fight when I'm ready. And the UFC was essentially like, well, no, that can't happen because he's not going to defend his interim title again. If he fights again, it's for the undisputed. And I think Jon was like, okay, fine, then I retire.
Right.
As soon as Jon versus as soon as Tom versus Ciryl gets booked, Jon goes, okay, I'm gonna retire again. I really think that's why Jon retired now that I fully have a lot of the details. I think he retired to force Tom to fight Ciryl, and as soon as that shit got put together, he unretired, and now he's just waiting to fight the winner.
I think that I don't think he really knew what was going to happen with the court. I think he was very hopeful, hey, I paid the guys, I paid the right guys, and maybe you were right, maybe he's right, maybe he was a setup, and the girl, that's what it came out. So I could be completely wrong.
Regardless if it was a setup or not, my thing about the court system is Jon is just a master of getting away with things. There wasn't enough details, and I saw it coming from a mile away. There ain't enough details to convict the man.
But at the time too, I think it almost felt like he was forced to because remember Dana dropped it out of nowhere, and we're like, whoa, where did this come from? Mm-hmm. Right? He's like, yeah, I just found out. That,
yeah, but the guy who dropped that news, if you're about to say that you feel like Jon retired because he knew that case was coming out, that already got debunked a little bit because that guy said he only looked into Jon's legal situation because he heard about the announcement, and then Dana says he didn't know anything about it. So nobody knew anything about it.
Wasn't the story released the night before?
The story was released the night after, or that same night. Dana announced Jon's retirement, and then the guy was like, "Oh, I hear Jon retired. I'm a journalist of Jon from Albuquerque. Let me go look at my database." Looked at his database, and then he's like, "Oh, damn, he's got this case up here." So then he just posted it.
Yeah.
But that made a lot of people think that they were related. But you can go off an assumption, right? You're allowed to. But I'm just telling you, every word that everybody said, Dana says he didn't know about it. The guy says he didn't know about it until after Dana announced the retirement. Jon said, he was aware of it, but he didn't tell Dana or anything like that. So,
it would be cool.
To the knowledge we know, nobody knew about the legal battle, and that's not why Jon retired.
It would be cool if I don't know, you were the one at the VMAs. You were the one interviewing Jon Jones, and you asked him that, and before he can give you his blank statement, he grins at you, but then he answers right.
What if I asked him, why did you retire because you had this legal case?
No. So Tom could fight Ciryl, and he kind of grins, and then answers oh no, it was because of the court case.
Yeah.
But what you're saying, you know what I mean? That'd be a great question for someone to ask Jon Jones, just to see his reaction.
Yeah, I honestly think it was probably that Tom and Ciryl thing. I at least would get a little smirk from him. He'd be like, okay, so you're thinking outside the box a little bit.
Because he's always said hey, Tom doesn't have my resume. Tom's just another guy. He could lose next year, and then what? It wasn't worth my time.
He was just another guy I beat.
Right.
So he wants Tom to do his heavy lifting, and then he'll fight him. Right. Links up a little bit.
Yeah, I can see that. All right, because he's still going to be in a position hey, Do you want to whoever wins that fight still
He
wants
gets
to fight
him. You know,
Right.
maybe John doesn't get a fight at the White House. Maybe John doesn't get his $100 million payday or $10 million that he turned down stupidly. But hey, he at least is pretty much guaranteed the winner of this if he stays active.
That was the question I asked. He saw how much Jake Paul got made, and then he was like, well, why am I not making that much?
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't right? The Netflix fight with Mike Tyson?
Yeah, but I didn't see anything where John was trying to compare like his pay to that.
I remember during that press conference, he was all like, well, because they were like, you saw how much he was like, well, I guess that's how much I'm going to need on my next fight.
Oh, saying like, fuck you money, pretty much.
Yes.
Yeah. He obviously wanted, but apparently the UFC gave him fuck you money. He turned it down. So now he doesn't get fuck you money.
I think he'll still get it if everything pans out the way he wants it to.
I don't think it's going to pan out the way he wants it to because he retired. It's like, I think Dana has all the balls in his court now. I think Dana basically goes, it's like this. John retired. Dana cut his losses with John already. He accepted the loss with John. He, in his mind, when John retired, he said, well, I don't get to make that money off of John anymore. So now it's like, John, you can either take it or leave it. Because I already counted you as a lost asset. I already lost you in August, right? Lost asset in August. Nothing's changing for me. You said you're unretired, but hey, I already counted that loss. So either you take my conditions, right, or you don't. But if you don't, it ain't news to me. You already retired. I already would have lost it. You think I'm gonna come back down to your shoes and kiss your feet now? Because you're begging more than me. So that's like from Dana's perspective. Last topic of the day.
It's funny because we're like talking Dana's side now when we're first like against Dana's side.
Yeah, right. It just depends. I'm more on like, listen, if somebody's doing some fuckery, then I'm gonna always play it to the side of the person who deserves to throw it back in your face in a way. And in this situation, John did a lot of fuckery. And he did the UFC kind of bad in a certain situation where the UFC was trying to give him everything he wants. Because it was reversed. The UFC needed John. They would have accepted any term. And they did. And John still overplayed it and then retired. So it's like, if that's how you're going to play it, John, I mean, you can't expect much. And again, I'm never on anybody's side. I'm just on like the side of what's right.
Yeah.
So never get it twisted. I'm never on the UFC side or the or fighter side. Who's right? Who deserves more money, the UFC or fighters? You got the answer? Who deserves more money, fighters or UFC? Right now as it stands.
Fighters?
That's what I would say, so I'm going to be on the fighter side. Why the fuck would I defend the UFC when they're the ones who are taking all the money? So, it's all about who's right. It ain't about fucking my personal preferences. Brian Ortega passed out twice during his weight cut with Aljo. He confirms it. He went on Instagram, made a statement. I guess we'll just play it real quick. We might as well. This is the last topic of the day. But I find it interesting. I don't even know how much you're allowed to like let a fighter go through this stuff and then let him step in the cage. But I think UFC found Brian a new opponent. I think this is worth mentioning. UFC found Brian a new opponent or a new replacement. They were accepting Brian pulling out of the fight. They had a guy ready to go on standby. Brian made the decision, no, I gave my word, I'll fight.
He's that type of guy, too.
He's that type of guy. I just would have thought that there's another protocol that's kind of like, listen.
Step in for the fighter, be like, hey.
Noble effort, respect to you, but like, we just ain't going to let this happen. You could fucking pay me $1 million. The rule is the rule. You can't fight. You went unconscious twice.
It's so crazy, too, like when you look at the NFL, like the concussion rule now, like, bro, they put him in that tent, it's done. You're not coming back on that field.
Even just with the threat of having a concussion, huh?
You're not coming back on that field.
That tent equals no more field time.
I don't give a... When Tua went down last year, dude, it was like a 4-game protocol. Like, they were not... And he had another concussion. They're like, dude, everybody's like, bro, retire. Retire.
Dana fucking hates that talk right there, though. I tell you that.
Oh, hell yeah, bro, because he doesn't want no, like, fighters union. That's fighter union talk.
Even when they were asking about Aaron Pico, I spoke about this on like one of my solo streams, but I'll just bring it up to you, which I didn't like. It pissed me off. So one of the people were like, hey, did you check on Aaron Pico? Because he went out really bad and stuff like that. Did you like any concussion protocol, like any updates on Pico? And then Dana hates that question. So he's like, no, we haven't heard anything from Pico, but he went to the hospital. And I mean, I'm no doctor, but I'll say he got a concussion. I'll say that much. It's like, dude, In my opinion, you're trying to make the guy look stupid. Like, why are you asking me, bro? Obviously, he got a concussion. But it's like, I'm asking you because I care about the fighter. The fuck? Don't shame me for asking about fighter safety just because you don't want it brought to light. Because the more times you hear about, oh, he went out really bad. He was out for a solid minute. Dana hates that shit. Yeah. All right, let me play Brian Ortega.
Decompress from everything. Now we're good. We're chilling. And kind of give you guys my whole experience. I cut weight on Thursday. We hit the first one. We got down to 51. Second one, later on, I decided to jump the gun on that one at 12. But we cut from midnight all the way to 8 in the morning, cutting weight the entire time. I realized I had 1.7 to go still. Confused on how my body wasn't really pouring out the water or why it was just holding it in. But no matter what, we have to get this weight off, so we did. We went downstairs at about 8 something, decided to cut more weight, put the plastics on, sweet sweat. I mean, you name the whole thing. I hit 20 minutes on the bike. Once I got off, I went unconscious. I was unconscious for about 30 minutes. During that time, they were putting ice on me. They took all my clothes off. They left me in boxers. Woke up in the ER. I ripped everything off. I tried to speak. I couldn't really, translate to them because I'm like, if they don't take everything off, I'm going to take it off myself. So I started taking everything off myself. We knew that we had a time limit to get to the weigh-ins. Otherwise, I could not fight. If you saw the weigh-ins, you obviously know that I looked delirious and just coming off of being 30 minutes unconscious in the tunnel, what they say. After that, weighed in, we figured if I didn't feel good or if something was seriously off, that we would call the fight. It don't matter who you are, like your health comes first. Always stand by that. Aljamain came to me and he talked to me. He said, hey man, I heard what happened. I said, I was under for 30 minutes. I ain't gonna lie to you. I know we have the same manager, so I know he told you. I'm here and I'm trying and I'm gonna show up. He said, they already have a replacement fighter. Don't worry about it. But I told him, nah, I don't want to waste your time. And I showed up here. We ate food, we rehydrated the entire day. I didn't feel good. I wanted to call it off. I got up and just walking outside, I almost passed out and fainted. Everything in my body's telling me not to fight. First and foremost, I decided to fight for my family. That's my job, to show up and do what I do for them. I fought for my family. Secondly, I fought for you guys. You guys have always shown me love. You guys have always supported me no matter what. It would be unfair to not show up for you guys. Regardless of excuses, you just show up and you do what you gotta do. The question arose that maybe I wasn't gonna last. I didn't know what to expect, if I'm being honest. I was afraid, I'm not gonna lie. Being unconscious for 30 minutes and then fighting the next day. But I decided to go for it still. The outcome was what the outcome was. Good job to Aljo for game plan well played. He was slick with his movement. He's a very smart point fighter. Smart fight on his end, I'm more of a fan of having wars. Call me crazy, but that's what I was hoping for, like a good grappling war, but it didn't happen. Neither did the victory. We fought for 30 minutes. At the end of the fight, I was like, yo, come on, like, let's bang. But we're back. We feel good. There's a lot of things that I learned from this one. There's a lot of factors in cutting weight when you travel. It retains a lot of water. The time zone change was different. I take full responsibility for everything. It's just a lesson we learned and to take in consideration for the future. This is not what you want, but this is a test to see what I'm made of. But if I'm being honest, the last 2 weeks, I haven't had that much sadness, the depression that I usually get from losing. I feel like it makes me just know where I'm at mentally. These are lessons that I'm learning as I go on this journey. And thank you guys for everything, man. There's a big reason why I fought is because of you guys, because of love you guys showed me. I ain't going nowhere. Let's just see what the future holds for us. And thank you guys for tuning in and for hearing me out. What's going on, everyone?
Thank you, Brian. Fucking thanking me for hearing you out. Of course I'll hear you out. Would have heard it out if it was 5 minutes. Lot to unpack. I mean, I guess working like backwards on it. He's not super upset with the loss. So just got to be careful treading those waters because, you know, the fight game, you know, if it's not everything to you, you're going to get hurt in there. You know what I mean? It's just how it is. It ain't me fucking telling him advice. It's just the way of the fucking game. So if his heart's not fully in it, maybe retire sooner than later, right? He does share the same manager as Aljamain Sterling. Make that of it what you will. That guy's name is Tiki Gozin. You know who that guy is already. Sean Strickland accuses him of some crazy things. That's also the guy who, you know, got Aljo to accept the fight against O'Malley. So I'm not the biggest fan of Tiki Gozin, if I'm being real. I think he's spread too thin amongst a bunch of fighters. I think he's really close to Dana White, and I wouldn't have him as my manager. Just saying. He went out twice. Still allowed to cut the weight. Basically elected himself. If I make the weight, I'll still fight. You know, I think he should have probably been pulled before he even made the weight. Yeah. Like, to let him be like, oh, well, let me make weight first, and then, like, let me see. I think that was a lot. But I think they did make it a catch weight, right? So he didn't have to make the full weight. It was a catch weight. I think they moved it up to 55 or something. Or 50.
I don't remember now.
They did. I'm like 99% sure. I think I made a post about it. So they did move it up, so maybe that was the little leeway they gave. But yeah, I mean, a little bit of a worrying situation though for Ortega. I think he should move up to 55. I don't think he should be fighting at 45 anymore. He's been talking about moving up to 55 for a minute. So like, just fucking make that move, bro. Like,
well, I would say this, like, you know, a few things stuck out. I mean, 30 minutes unconscious is crazy.
That's a lot. That's like brain damage fucking levels.
That is emergency room. Just hearing that off the bat, like, where's the fighter safety protocol? Where is the person to step inside and say, nah? Where is the doctor to say, you know what? We're not going to allow you to fight. Mm-hmm. Like, someone else needs to step in. And then what he said too is like, hey, I'm fighting for my family. I'm fighting for my fans. Believe me, I respect that. However,
I think nobody needs you to do that. I think everybody needs you to probably sit that out, if I'm being real.
Yeah, I agree with you. But that same sentiment, right? I'm fighting for my family. I'm fighting for my fans. What if we lose you?
That's what I'm saying. It's better off you do it for your family. You don't fight.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You're taking it out of my mouth. 100%, bro. Yeah. Like, there's more to be said on that side of the argument to be like, bro, nah, you're not fighting because of your family.
You got a family to go home to.
Right. And 30 minutes unconscious, it's where is the fighter safety protocol? Like, that shit kind of angers me. Like, where is the person stepping in from the UFC and saying, no, these are the protocols that you did not pass them. We're sorry, but you're not going to be able to fight. Mm-hmm. To save you from yourself. Because evidently you got that, like, hey, I'm going to go out there. You know what I mean? I'm out of honor almost, out of his word. You know, to say, nah, you know, I said I'm a fight. Like, I'm not going to go back on that, which you got to respect. But someone has to step in and save him from himself. And, you know, for him to put himself out there like that and even talk about at the end about depression, you know, he said usually I'm fighting depression after a fight. Or
just feeling sad, you know, if he loses a fight. But it's not getting to him anymore.
Which is common because I think maybe because you're like, man, look at all the other things you had to fight through. Mm-hmm. You know, that's almost like becomes after the fact. Mm-hmm. Like, okay, I lost, but damn, bro, I was out 30 minutes.
Like, you still got your life. Yeah.
That's the real knockout. The cutting weight like that. Well, what you just put your body out, that knocked you out physically.
Right.
Like, imagine him being knocked out in the ring for 30 minutes.
It's like, how did they not even stop you sooner? How did your vitals not get checked sooner to where, like, you're literally they're allowing you to cut weight till you pass out.
Yeah.
I feel like that should even be...
And everybody saw the video Friday, right? Everybody saw that video, like, looking like fucking death.
But they should have probably stepped in before he even passed out, right? I'm sure there were signs.
Because he's saying he passed out before that.
Yeah.
Before he walked up to that stale, he was already in the emergency room. He already been out for 30 minutes.
So I'm just curious how this conversation goes, right? He gets out of the emergency room, and then somewhere down the road, it's like, hey, so, okay, I'm glad you're all right, but instead of 145, do you want to move it to 150? Mm-hmm. Like, is that really how it went or something? Like, I'm dying to know.
Well, he said he went to go talk to Aljo, and he said, hey, Aljo told him, hey, I already got a fight. We got somebody else, but he's like, no, I'm gonna do it. So they must have had that conversation being there.
Yeah. And so they're like, all right, Brian, if you want to do it, we got to do 150. And he's like, okay.
And I'm sure
but
that
since
guy.
When are they letting him call the shots? That's the one thing I don't like. I know it's what it is. It's the main event. They're selling tickets with his name on it. It's a big deal. They don't want to fucking miss out on that. So maybe they let him. Credit to the UFC for having a replacement opponent ready to go. I just feel like, the UFC already says, like, fuck what the fans want with enough little situations. This is a time where the fans definitely, rightfully so, they got to take an L whether they like it or not. Brian's safety comes first. And I think maybe they were a little bit more wishy-washy on what they should do because it was the main event. I think if it was a lower fight on the card, it's 100% getting pulled. And with that, I don't like that. I don't like it when you can change a rule because we sold it with the name and the tickets on it. But let's say that happened on a prelim level fight, he definitely isn't fighting.
I think the red alarm bells, like sirens, are screaming fighter safety protocols. That's what I take from this conversation. Like, these need to be evaluated. A committee needs to be created. Like, because if this is what we're seeing at the forefront, what haven't we seen behind the scenes? What are all the other things we don't even know about?
Mm-hmm.
This is just one instant. This is a pretty bad one too.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't the first time we've talked about fighter safety and shit. So, like, I don't know. This is just, if I was an attorney screaming, like, alert, 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 alert.
It's like, and then you talk about these lawsuits that are going on right now. This is the shit, that
Right.
they talk about when you talk about compensation,
Right.
and all these kinds of things, the stuff that these guys have to go through.
Yeah, and when Brian Ortega's 50 and we're looking at him and something's wrong with him, and we're now pinpointing, well, how did that happen? Well, you remember that one time he fucking
went out for 30 minutes and now he's got brain damage? Like, people are obviously going to correlate the two. Right. He went out there and fought and took a big old spinning elbow from Aljo.
Imagine he gets knocked out during the fight, and he doesn't. Something happens to him. I don't know, dude. It's
no. That's what I was saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. I mean, thankfully he didn't get knocked out, but he still took a massive spinning elbow from Aljo.
Yeah.
That doesn't fucking help, bro. You passed out the day before.
And in his mind, he's trying to play like, hey, we were at this part of the world, or where was that at?
Shanghai, China.
Oh, you were already in a different part of the world.
And they're saying the fighter protocol for safety out there was terrible. They're saying Kiefer Crosby didn't get checked up on. So, another discussion for another day. Last thing we'll end up on is Canelo Crawford. I don't have much on it. I don't think it's like as highly anticipated a fight as people are making it out to be, but it's a cool fight.
You watching the prelims?
No, I don't even know who's fighting on prelims, but I know Dana's guy, Callum Welsh, who's fighting the Brazilian chick, Baby Shark. You know who I'm talking about?
She fought in the UFC, right?
Yeah, she still fights in the UFC. Her name's Baby Shark, but I don't know her real name.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, so Dana's boxer's fighting a guy with the last name of Vargas. So I'll watch that. Look at you, Yanni, as soon as I bring up boxing. I know it, though. It's all good. The Vargas one I'm going to watch, and then probably, I think that's the co-main. So then I'll just watch Canelo Crawford. But I think I'm rocking with Crawford. You got any side that you're leaning with?
Canelo. I'll go Canelo.
Okay.
I love Canelo's sound bites, bro. That dude's like, he's the Mexican Conor McGregor.
I wish that there was an editor out there who picked up on this. But Canelo in the past, the guy I mentioned earlier, Caleb Plant, one time Caleb was like, I'm gonna beat your ass, motherfucker, right? To Canelo. And then Canelo's like, motherfucker, motherfucker, motherfucker you, or something like that, right? So, like, Canelo doesn't understand it because I guess, like, with the Spanish barrier, that's what people were saying. But then, like, if you were to take that clip and then you cut it to the press conference of Dana and Canelo and Crawford, Dana goes, we got two of the baddest motherfuckers out here today. So it's just, like, hilarious. Like, what did Canelo think about that, you know? He probably was like, shit, good thing I know about that now or else I would have been offended. But Canelo already fucking threw hands. Like, because Canelo threw hands with his opponent because he said motherfucker. Like, threw hands at the press conference.
Right.
Canelo heard it. He's like, what'd you say? And he's like, nah, I remember. I remember. He don't mean any harm by it.
Right. He wasn't trying to disrespect.
Nah. So that's the card.
I got Canelo. He's Mexican, so I'll go with the At least there's a Mexican fighter fighting on UFC Noche that's a Mexican fighter.
Yeah,
He's
perfect.
not fighting in the UFC.
Yeah, so they win a little bit. Mexican Independence weekend, big weekend. Actually, the last thing, just a random one. Charlie Kirk, that guy.
Oh,
What do you think? I mean, do you know anything about that guy?
honestly, I don't. I don't
That's
get
fucked, though. That's fucked.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
They're posting that all over the internet. I didn't even want to see that shit, dude.
I don't want to see it either.
Phil Rowe posted it. I pulled up the Instagram and boom, I saw like the blood gushing out. I'm like, oh, dude, in the neck. He just died. An old guy shot him too.
That's the thing, I'll say this. Like you said it earlier. I mean, what's right is right, right? I don't give a fuck if you're on the left or on the right. What your political stance is, wrong is wrong.
100%. Nobody should do that to any human being, no matter fucking what you disagree on. I think these people who get... That's the biggest worry I have with politics, is people who become so radicalized and so angry. It's the worst thing about it, you know?
And what I hate too is that, like I said, I'm not gonna get political because that side of the fence, they're gonna pour more gasoline on it. You see, like they're gonna not try to heal the situation. They're gonna try to add more fuel to the situation. But that's a whole nother type of podcast.
Yeah, but that's not even controversial what you're saying. I think you're just keeping it a buck. It's like, that is the truth, right? The truth is instead of fucking using this to exploit, I mean, this is what happens with the race too. If you got a black guy, right, who does something to like a white person or any person, right, you're gonna see the comments, oh, the fatigue is real, oh, usual suspects. You know what I mean? Instead of looking at the humanity side and questioning
they're
it,
use the talking points.
you use it to validate, your preconceived judgments towards somebody. So that's what they're gonna do as far as, because I'm assuming the guy that got shot is a conservative.
Trumper, I think.
That's like what he gives off a little bit, is like more conservative. So they're gonna say, see, liberals, they're all fucking unhinged, they're all fucking crazy, right? When I don't, let's not bring liberals into it. Let's just speak about this guy on a humanity standpoint and look at where he went wrong. If he went super deep into the scripts of politics on the liberal side and he got radicalized, let's talk about it. But no need to say stuff like all of them are fucking crazy, because you're just causing more divide. Let's look at where he went wrong. If we know where he went wrong as an individual, maybe other people can look at that and be like, you know what? I share some similarities to him, and I don't want to go down that path.
That's the thing. They don't want to get to the root of the problem.
That's the problem, is a lot of people don't want to get to the root. That's the only thing I'm ever interested in, is the fucking root.
I'll tell you this.
Or else you're just spinning in circles.
When they said in Washington, is another great talking point, they were able to use an example of a crime that happened in Washington. Crime is rampant in Washington. We have to bring the military. We have to bring the National Guard involved, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's rampant. So they love when things like this happen, because now they can go use more rhetoric and use more laws to bring out the military and bring out National Guard and to bring out things like that.
What do they use school shootings for? Legislature against guns.
But they don't want to talk about that either. Let's not solve the problem. And so now, Trump is saying, I brought out the military. Oh, we have now a lot less crime. It's like, bro, if you really wanted to talk about the problem, gang violence and murders and killings and systemic fucking racism.
I will solve that for you right now. I'll solve that for you in a sentence. You ready for the answer?
Please.
They're always going to keep that there because the politicians want the black vote. They want the immigrant, or not the immigrant, but they want the minority vote.
They don't want to solve the problem.
No, not that they don't want to solve the problem. They're creating the problem. Without the problem, without them making the problem, they can't force you to fucking vote for them. That's why they put all this shit, mix it in with Section 8, right, and all these other things. Because if you got a Section 8 on the Democratic side, right, then that's who the Democrats are going to vote for, because all the people in the hood need Section 8 housing. You get rid of Section 8 housing, you lose the votes from the hood. You understand? So, like, I've realized this. I fucking was actually infuriated for a lot of my life, always being like, why the fuck is LA so bad? Like, why is it so bad? Just fix it. It's so bad. The place I live is 10 times nicer. Why? And I just realized it's because if you were to fix the hood, the whole basically Democrat vote goes away. They don't want to lose that. They've curated so that the hood votes for Democrats and the fucking good places vote Republican. Like, my whole area right? South Orange County is Republican. Why? Because it's wealthy over here. Why is the hood Democrat? Because it's fucking poor. And Democrats offer more service. EBT, fucking Section 8 housing, money for your kids. The Republicans don't give you that. They give you less. So as long as that problem exists, the Democrats have votes. And as long as this exists over here, the Republicans have votes. But take away taxes on the Republican side, take away tax breaks and see what happens. They're going to vote the other side, but they curate it.
Yeah, curating is a funny word. Yeah.
They create the problem, and then they present you solutions to the problem, right? And tell you that they're here for you. That's like me stripping out all the food from your fridge, all right? Going in your house, stripping out all the food, and be like, you don't have food? Shit, bro. Well, like, fuck, if you just come over to my house and, like, clean the house once a week, I'll give you, like, $15 a day. Mm-hmm. That's the same shit. I created the problem, and now I'm fucking giving you a solution and twisting it so that you got to work for me.
Right.
You come to my house, work, and earn the $15, even though I took all the food from you. I created the problem. That's it right there. If I tell you what, they fix the hood, the whole system fucking breaks. The entire system breaks. Just fix the hood.
I want to fix the hood.
No. Not at all. Because then you have to really think about your legislation on both sides. It's not like so fucking tribal and so curated to people's fucking demise. They just capitalize off of your struggles in life.
That's true.
What is the rich person's struggles in life? Taxes. Right? What's the fucking poor person's struggles in life? Money. They don't make anything. They don't get shit. So, okay, we'll give you money. We'll save you money. We're going to give you a problem, and then we're going to fucking tell you that we're going to fix it, even though we created it. The problem never would have even existed. Right? They say, I'll give you a tax break because they overly do it so that they can do that. They're the ones who are creating, okay, we're going to do 20% tax, right? 25% tax, and then we'll just tell them, we'll bring it back down to what the real number it should be and tell them 17 is like giving them a discount. When really 17, they already calculated the GDP and they know 17 is the max of what people can pay. So they're going to, it's just grade A negotiating. When you go to a car dealership, I'll buy the car for 20. You know what I mean? Shit, I'll buy it for 10. You do 15? Anything?
No, not on this one. I'm gonna let you smoke this one.
That's some genius shit.
Yeah.
That's some genius shit.
Trump's gonna hear this. He's gonna shut your shit down.
Why would that be?
Because he don't want you to tell the truth. You don't want the truth to get out.
Neither do the Democrats, though. The Democrats are probably going to do it even more because they're the ones who keep the hood going.
It's on both sides.
And that's what pisses me off, bro. I swear to God, every time I drove to LA when I was younger, I'd be in the car and be like, why the fuck is this still like this? It literally infuriates me until I realized. And then I'm like, you know what? Okay. It's always going to be like this.
It will always be like that.
Unless I become a president.
I'll vote for you.
All right, let's wait, let me read the chats and then we'll get out of here. They go, two goats. I don't know if he was talking about us or somebody else we were talking about. R.I.P. Kirk. Popcorn's in the chat.
Not popcorn.
Silva, no, popcorn emojis. Somebody just put popcorn emojis. Silva versus Lopez, who y'all got? Silva versus Lopez, who you got?
I got, I'm going to take Lopez, bro.
Silva's so hard to pick against right now, but I'm leaning towards Lopez.
I'm leaning towards Lopez because I think maybe he just has his experience in seeing out these other guys. Like, I don't know if they're really ready for that next level.
It's like Lopez at least fought Volk and shit like that, you know?
Lopez is a top 5 guy for sure.
He's proven himself. I completely agree. Lopez has certified himself and he's fought the tougher competition, so I'm going to lean with Lopez. Yep. And he's got the job done against tougher competition. Although he didn't beat Volk. He's got good wins.
He got humbled with Volk.
Yeah, but he has other good wins, so I respect him. Yeah. Did the nerds get exposed? In my opinion, not really. Not really. I think that they were overly hyped. That's what I think. They were overly hyped. Not that they got exposed. It's like, not everybody's going to be a fucking world champion. You think you're going to get 4 guys from one gym to be a champion? Like, think about it.
They had a good story, right? Everybody's wearing the glasses. They're getting a lot of knockouts with, like, lower competition. Now a lot of those guys are rising. Now we're seeing them where they really at. Even Carlos Praetus, I mean, I hate to say it, I'm a big Carlos Praetus fan. He probably beats Leon Edwards, but he doesn't beat Ian Gary again, probably not with that same game plan.
Yeah.
And you know what? I got to give it to him. He almost got him at the end, but he didn't give up. I got to give him to that.
He wants to retire with the Ian Gary fight for the title. I think that's what he said on Aero Show. R.I.P. Charlie Kirk.
I don't know if he beats Bilal.
Let's see who he fights next. I think he's fighting Leon, right? So you got to get past Leon before anything.
Yeah.
Everybody like and share the video. For every like this video gets, I will kiss my sister. James, I think you owe us 5 kisses on your sister's lips.
Bro, no, you're good, dog.
James,
You're good.
kiss your sis 5 times for us. That's 5 kisses on your sister's lips.
We don't need that on the show.
You can email it to parrypunchnews@gmail.com. And I will put it up for the next video as proof that you are a man of your word.
Just go open the door for her.
And he goes, I forgot. He goes, for every like this video gets, I will kiss my sister. And then on a new comment, he goes, on the lips. So he specified. Is Kane going to fight? He's not fighting outside of jail, and he's not fighting in prison either because nobody wants that smoke. Where's everybody in the chat? South Carolina, what's up? So James from South Carolina, MTK, right. Make that mental note. We got James Barrett from South Carolina.
Hold on. I'm the roll call guy.
Yeah. We're getting roll call down. James. I used to
be like a prison roll call.
Yeah, that's right.
South Carolina.
I used to go out with Alexa Grasso, but we grew apart. Shout out to James. That's a baddie right there. Lots of men like her.
We got a new suspect in the chat.
We got a new suspect. James is fucking firing today.
Roll dog right now. We got Soda Pop. We got Jew.
We got Barrett. We got Andrew. Make sure you get Andrew in there. Jew goes just straight up Andrew.
Okay.
Jew goes, they do Noche justice with Mexican fighters. Yeah, except for they didn't put any on, so they should have put more on. Andrew goes, T-Pity, not T-City. Oof. And then and then he goes, Anthony Smith, I'm fighting you for my family. Because Anthony said that to Johnny Walker that one time.
Yeah,
Anthony Smith said,
and James is coming in hot.
You're attacking my family. All right, boys. Shout out to everyone watching. Appreciate you watching, boys.
Welcome to the Parry Punch gang.
Yeah. South Carolina. We represented for South Carolina today. Last week it was Stockton.